right, get ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into Pixiland.
Pixiland.
Yeah, it's a play-to-earn blockchain game. They're trying to make it big,
Yeah.
We've got their white paper, website, even some stuff for investors. And,
Sounds comprehensive.
yeah, and honestly, what really caught my attention was this whole Age of Heroes storyline they've got going.
Yeah, Pixiland is they're mixing a lot of things together. Town building, battles, NFTs, player-driven economy. They're really going for it.
It really does make you think of, I don't know, less like Clash of Clans and more like, a real epic medieval saga.
Right.
But okay, let's get down to it. You've had time to look over all this. What stands out to you? If someone's really into blockchain gaming, should they even bother with this?
Well, I think first we got to talk about, like, what problem are they even trying to solve?
Right, yeah.
Like traditional games, a lot of times people feel like they don't really own anything in the game, even if they're spending a ton of time and money on it.
Right.
But then you got some blockchain games, and they promise ownership, which is cool.
Yeah.
But then the games themselves aren't that fun, or the economies just don't work.
So they're trying to solve both problems at the same time.
Yeah.
Real ownership and a good game.
Yeah, exactly. And they're doing the ownership thing in a pretty interesting way.
Okay.
It's not just like, oh, you have an NFT of a sword. It's more about how that sword fits into the whole economy of the game, how it changes how you play.
So it's not just a cosmetic thing. It
That's
in the game.
exactly. Yes.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into that, just walk us through the basics. How does this Pixiland world even work?
So at the core, it's a pretty classic gameplay loop.
Hmm.
You build your town, get resources, train your armies, but then it gets a little more interesting because you don't control your units directly in battle.
Okay.
Instead, you set everything up beforehand, like your army composition, formations, special abilities. Then you just watch these auto battles play out.
So it's kind of like setting up a chessboard, but then the pieces fight on their own.
That's a really good analogy.
Uh-huh. Thanks.
And that's what creates like the strategic depth. You aren't controlling every little move, but the choices you make before the battle, that's what determines who wins. They even call players master strategists in their marketing. I kind of like that.
Master strategists, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why people would like that. You mentioned earning earlier, and they've got this referral riches thing that seems kind of important to them.
Well, yeah, that's a big part of how they're trying to build a community. It's all about encouraging players to bring their friends in.
Right. So you activate your mining power that seems to be tied to how much you play and stuff.
Okay.
Then you share your referral link, and you and your friend both get rewards.
So it's not just about playing the game. There's a reason to get other people involved, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart. But let's talk tech for a sec. I know they're built on the TON blockchain, and it's supposed to be super fast.
Right.
What does that actually mean?
Both get rewards.
So it's not just about playing the game. There's a reason to get other people involved, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart. But let's talk tech for a sec. I know they're built on the TON blockchain, and it's supposed to be super fast.
Right.
What does that actually mean for someone playing the game? Well, it means the game will run more smoothly, especially when you're buying or selling stuff in the marketplace.
Got it.
Because everything in Pixiland is based on NFTs. So when you're trading items, it all happens on the blockchain. So if the blockchain is faster, then buying and selling is faster too and cheaper. You don't have to wait around forever for your purchases to go through.
So no waiting around, huh?
Right.
I like that. And speaking of those NFTs, they make a big deal out of them in their investor pitch deck.
Oh, yeah. They're not just your typical collectible NFTs. They're offering more than that.
Like what?
Like limited edition heroes, they have unique abilities that can change how you approach battles. Or special buildings that can help you get resources faster or defend your town better. And of course, they're really emphasizing the real-world value of these NFTs. Players can trade them on outside marketplaces if they want.
So there's a whole investment angle to it, beyond just enjoying the game. And I saw that they're trying to raise a good chunk of money, something like $100,000 to $500,000.
Yeah, that's not small change.
Definitely not.
What's interesting is that they're pretty flexible with how people can invest. Token allocation, profit sharing, all sorts of stuff. Seems like they're trying to get a lot of different investors involved, from individuals to big venture capital firms. It's high risk, high reward, just like most blockchain games at this stage.
Right. It's all about potential right now.
Yep.
That potential could be huge. They're clearly betting on the idea that a fun, engaging game with a good economic model can really take off in this space.
Yeah.
But we've seen projects come and go.
Yeah.
Lots of them promised the world and then disappeared. What's Pixiland doing to avoid that?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And that's what we'll look at next. We'll dig into their go-to-market strategy and see if it makes sense. Are they just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, or do they have a real plan?
Okay, let's do it. Let's see what this plan is all about.
Okay, so let's take a look at how they're planning to get this thing off the ground, their go-to-market strategy. They've laid out a three-phase approach, which is pretty typical in this space.
Right. And we've already talked a bit about that community building aspect with that referral riches program. What else are they doing to get people excited about this?
Well, the first phase is really about setting the stage, building that strong online presence, getting people talking on social media, releasing those important documents, the white paper, the pitch deck, all that stuff, just getting the word out. It's super important to attract those early adopters, the people who can make or break a project like this.
Early adopters. They're like the
Yeah.
trendsetters, right? The ones who jump in early and help get the momentum going.
Exact. And Pixiland seems to get how important they are. They're even planning to do airdrops to reward those early supporters, a way to create that feeling of community ownership.
Makes sense. Reward your loyal followers, and they'll reward you right back. Okay, so phase one is all about spreading the word, building that initial community. What about phase two? What happens then?
Phase 2 is where things get really interesting. This is when they plan to release an actual playable version of the game, maybe an early access beta or something like that.
Got it.
So people can actually get in there and see what it's all about, experience it firsthand.
So it's not just promises anymore. People can actually see if the game lives up to the hype. I bet that's super important for building trust.
Absolutely. And it's not just about letting people play. This phase is also when they start rolling out those NFTs we talked about.
Right.
Those unique heroes, buildings, those special boosts. Players can start seeing how those NFTs fit into the gameplay, how they might affect the game's economy.
And that's where things could get really wild, right? We've seen how NFTs have exploded in other games, creating these whole in-game economies. Players can buy, sell, trade. It adds a whole other level to it.
Exactly. And Pixiland seems to be all in on this. They're also planning to add updates to the core gameplay, new stuff for PvE and PvP battles during this phase. It's about making the game better based on what players say, making sure it's fun and balanced.
So it's like a constant evolution. They're not just releasing it and forgetting about it. They're listening to the community and making changes along the way.
Right. And crucially, phase 2 is when they'll launch the tokenomics.
Tokenomics.
Yeah,
right.
system that controls the in-game economy. So we'll see how the Pixiland token works, how it's given out, what you can actually do with it in the game.
Okay, so we've got the community building, a playable version of the game, NFTs coming in, tokenomics being launched. By the end of phase 2, they've got a pretty solid foundation, it seems like.
Yeah.
So what's the big finish? What's phase 3 all about?
Phase 3 is all about going big, expanding their reach, getting the attention of mainstream gamers. They'll be ramping up their marketing, trying to get Pixiland in front of as many people as possible. And one of the key things here is getting listed on the major cryptocurrency exchanges.
The exchanges. That's where the serious trading happens, right? Getting listed makes it way easier for people to buy and sell the token, which could really increase its value and just get it out there more.
It's a huge step, yeah. It legitimizes the project, makes it easier for people to invest, shows that they're serious about this. And it's not just the exchanges. They're also talking about adding something called live match interactions, which sounds pretty cool.
What's that?
It could be anything from spectator modes where you can watch other people play to even being able to bet on matches using the Pixiland token.
Wow, live matches and betting. That could be a real game changer, especially for the people who are really into the competitive side of things.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, they're saying that the community will be involved every step of the way. They've mentioned that future updates to the game will be influenced by DAO voting, which means players can have a say in what happens.
DAO voting. So it's like blockchain democracy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Players get to vote on proposals, make decisions, really feel like they're part of the community. It's a great way to build trust and make sure that the game is going in a direction that everyone likes.
I think that's one of the most interesting parts of this whole thing. They're not just building a game, they're building a community. And that focus on community could be what makes Pixiland stand out from all the other blockchain games out there. But as always, we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Right. Plans are one thing, but can they actually make it happen? Can they deliver on all these promises and create a game that's not just fun, but also economically viable, something that can last? Let's take a look at their roadmap and see what they've actually got planned, what kind of milestones they're aiming for. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Pixiland, big goals that Interesting gameplay, how they're all about the community. But let's get into the details. What's on their roadmap? And when can we expect to see these things actually happening?
Well, they do have a roadmap with specific milestones. Always a good sign, right? Shows they have actually thought about the execution, not just tossing out ideas. And they've got it all laid out in quarters, starting with, let's see, Q4 2024, so coming up pretty soon.
Perfect timing for our deep dive then. So what's happening in Q4?
Q4 is all about getting that community going, launching the website, putting out the white paper, getting things buzzing on social media, basically building the hype and getting those first supporters on board.
It's like setting the stage, right?
Yeah.
Getting people excited for what's coming. And I bet those airdrops we talked about will be a big part of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Airdrops are great for rewarding early supporters, and just generating that excitement, give people a little taste of what's to come, a way to get involved early on.
Okay, so Q4 is all about the groundwork, the community. What about Q1 2025?
Yeah.
That's when things start to get real.
Yep. Q1 is when they're aiming to release that early access version, a chance for people to actually play the game, get a feel for that core loop, give their feedback.
So it's not just about playing, it's about actually being involved in the development process. I can see why that would appeal to some people.
For sure, yeah. And along with the game's release, they're also planning to launch the NFT marketplace. That's when you'll see those heroes, those buildings, those special boosts we talked about. That's when players can start buying, selling, trading.
So that's where this play-to-earn thing really takes off. Players can actually earn something for their time and effort.
Right. It adds a whole new layer to it all. And they're not stopping there. Q2 2025 is all about expanding and improving things, new PvE and PvP content, new challenges and rewards. Plus, they're planning to launch the Pixiland token itself and give all those details about the tokenomics, how it all works, how it's used in the game.
So by the end of Q2, we're looking at a playable game. The NFTs are out there, the marketplace is up and running, and the whole in-game economy is going with its own token. That's a lot to do in just a few months. What about reaching a bigger audience, like the mainstream gamers? When does that happen?
That's on the schedule for Q3 2025. Big marketing push. Try and get Pixiland on everyone's radar. And a big part of that is getting listed on those major crypto exchanges, making it easy for people to buy and trade the token.
Ah, the exchanges. That's a big one. Shows they're serious, makes it easier for people to get involved.
Totally. And they're also looking into those live match interactions we talked about. Imagine being able to watch others play in real time. Maybe even bet on who wins using the Pixiland token, a whole new level of engagement.
It sounds like they're really trying to create a complete gaming experience, something more than just the typical blockchain grind. But what about their long-term plan? Where do they see Pixiland going beyond these initial milestones?
Well, that's where their commitment to the community comes in again. They're talking about adding DAO voting in Q4 2025, giving players a real voice in how the game develops.
DAO voting, so players actually get to help shape the future of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's about empowering the community, making sure Pixiland grows in a way that everyone likes.
That's pretty cool. It's a big move, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
For sure, and I think that's a good place to wrap things up. Pixiland is definitely an ambitious project. They've got a good plan, a clear vision, and they seem to be really dedicated to their community. They want to create a blockchain game that's not just about making money, but about having a unique and engaging experience.
They've definitely given us a lot to think about. Can they really do all of this? Can they make it in this crazy world of blockchain gaming, build something that lasts? Only time will tell.
True. But one thing's for sure. This is a project to keep an eye on. And we'll be following their progress, ready to do another deep dive when the time is right.